I suck at building in Minecraft. I actually am the worst, and I want to get better. So I am doing a challenge where I pick a random state in the United States. I have to look up the average house and what it looks like, and then I'm going to try to replicate that build style and see how well I can do, and hopefully get better over time. So let's jump into it. So here I am on the website where I have a wheel of all 50 states. We're going to give it a spin here, and whatever state it lands on is what we're doing. Okay, I didn't think it'd spin this long. Connecticut. Oh, awesome. Okay, so East Coast gang. I am from Pennsylvania, so that I'm thinking it might be kind of similar to me, but I have no idea. So let's look it up. So this house you're seeing on the screen now is the house that I got when I looked up the average house in Connecticut. So I'm going to be basing my build off of this house. I'm not going to replicate it exactly. However, I am going to base most of my build off this photo. So I'm actually not quite sure what block to use. However, I'm going to try white concrete just because it is a bright white block, and as you saw, the house is pretty much entirely white. So I am probably going to use this as my base. However, since like I said, I am not really a good builder, I don't know really what I'm doing. I'm kind of just winging it. Currently making an outline because I feel like an outline is a good starting point. I feel like once you have the outline of the house really comes together better, in at least in my head, because it gives me more of an idea on where I want things to go, where I think certain rooms should be, etc., etc. So I think starting with the outline, at least for me, is the best first step. So now that I'm finishing the outline, I can actually take a step back and look, and those gaps in the walls are actually there for a reason. It gives me an idea of where I want the front door to go, the garage to go, etc. So I am probably going to jump around here. I'm going to experiment with what I want the front porch to be. The porch was kind of more of like a brick and brown kind of color, so I guess I will just experiment with what blocks I have at my disposal. But don't worry, things are due to change. As I'm doing this voiceover, I'm watching myself put these andesite blocks down, or sorry, these granite blocks down, and I just know they didn't stay. So if you don't like how that looks, don't worry, it didn't last forever. But it did actually last most of the build. I was actually surprised how many things I changed on like the very last couple minutes of the recording. I took a big step back at the end, realized there's some things I wanted to change, and I did so accordingly. And honestly, the finished product is amazing. But since I am kind of bad at building, this is definitely a trust the process kind of build because it has a massive glow up from all of the different changes it's gone through. So as we comically watch me extend this entire wall because I goobered it and built it a little bit too short, I feel like I should just give some basic info on Connecticut houses because why not? So the average house in the United States is currently $419,200, and in Connecticut the average is actually slightly below the national average, which surprised me because this house actually looks really nice. So the average cost of a house on Zillow, according to Zillow in Connecticut, is $405,746 as the time of recording. So I'm thinking this house would probably be a little above that because the house I used as a reference is really, really nice. However, I really couldn't find a listing on it anywhere, so I don't have much info about the house I used as the reference. So that's all I can really give you. So I thought a really important step while building the walls is actually spacing out the windows beforehand, because I did not want to have all the walls laid out and then have them be uneven with the windows and me have to extend a fully built wall. So I decided to build the windows in with the walls as I'm building the walls to try to avoid a little accident and have to extend everything. However, later in the video, you will see I am using World Edit for some of the more tedious tasks of this build. If you want me to do it legitimately the old traditional way without World Edit next video, just let me know. I have no problem doing that. However, I said that because if I did have to extend the wall a good bit, I could just use world edit. I, however, tried to avoid it as much as possible, but you will see me using world edit in parts of this video, so please don't kill me. I'm sorry. I know it's probably a sin, but I did it. There's no going back. So as I said earlier in the video, you will see me jumping around quite a lot in this build. I go from place to place all over, and that's just my ADHD brain working how it does. I tried to stay focused on one thing at a time. However, as ideas popped in my head, I didn't want to forget them, so I did them as they were in my head fresh. And you'll definitely see that later because I started getting a little messy. I brought myself back in and fixed all the mistakes I will make later. However, I got a little messy because my brain was just firing all over the place. But I decided to build a back patio, as you see, randomly before the inside's done, before there's even a roof or a second story on the building. I don't know if I mentioned, but most houses on the East Coast, or at least in that area, do seem to be single family, two stories. So there will be a second story on this, but don't worry, just stick around because you'll see that I also forgot that, and that's where the first big hiccup in the build comes along. So after I got the patio done, I decided it would be a good time to take my first step back, look at what I'm doing, see if there's anything major that I messed up on that I wanted to fix, and I really didn't see anything. I'm liking how it looks so far, so I am now building the wall between the main living space and the garage. So the room I am in right now is going to be the garage, because most houses on the East Coast seem to have garages, or at least a house of this capacity. So I do have a garage, and that's just what I'm doing currently. And if you see me rocking out, you might see me like kind of headbanging in Minecraft a little bit. I was listening to a lot of my music when I was building this, which is why I'm doing a voiceover, because I didn't even think of it. So I will link my playlist down in the description if you like death metal, heavy rock, or punk. That is what I was rocking to when I was building this. So after doing some basic accents around the house, as you see, I have some shelving there for some basic foliage later. I am deciding to start the roof because the roof is going to be the big part that I want to tackle early. And as you see in the photo here, I think andesite is a really good block, mainly because of the color and the actual texture of the block itself. And don't worry if you notice it like I foolishly didn't. I am quickly going to realize that I forgot to add the second story, and I think I noticed right now, or like really soon, because oh no, I'm still headbanging, I'm still rocking out, never mind. However, I will notice really soon that, hey dumbass, you didn't add the second floor, and it was a pain in the ass to fix, but thanks to world edit, I fixed it really, I don't want to say easily, but easier than taking the whole roof down when I noticed and redoing it. So I'm on the roof. Progress is being made. So you see how much progress I actually got done? I got the entire roof almost completely finished, at least on the garage. I'm currently working on the house. However, I still didn't notice, so I have to move everything that I am currently doing up, like a whole story, just to make it work. But you know what's funny? I didn't even add a second story. I decided that it still wasn't tall enough to make a second floor, so it's really just an extended roof. However, I wanted to make at least the outside look as it did in the photo. So imagine my complete horror when I am working on the roof, getting so much progress done, and then I finally decide to take a step back and look how the roof looks. And right here, it's terrifying. That is like one of the scariest things I had to look at during this entire build. It randomly, you can see it click in my head, and I just was looking back and forth at the reference photo, and I was so upset. Foolish me, but now we have to fix it, so let's get on fixing it, I guess. So the way I actually went about fixing it was selecting the entire roof of the house, copying it, and then just pasting it higher up. Not like that, doofus. You actually gotta like go up in the air. So let's try it. Let's try it again. Let's try it again. So I found my spot finally, went up in the air, and then I just pasted it. And I was hoping that would work. Voila, I'm a genius. So it took a couple tries. That was actually about 10 minutes between the last time you heard from me, in the recording at least. It took about 10 minutes to fix that. However, once I fixed it, I was so happy with myself. So now we just have to fill in that gap, fix the little things that got messed up when I moved the roof, and from there, we're moving forward. No more delays, or at least no more delays that major. That was the biggest delay we had in the whole build, and I'm happy it's over now. So as I said previously, I did jump around quite a lot. So right now I'm actually adding shaders to the sides of the windows. And if you can see, I actually tried a couple variants and I didn't like how they turned out. I tried to replicate the photo because they have more green shaders and I honestly thought it would look good. But I just didn't like how it turned out. So I just am going with more of a dark brown, which I think really still works with the white and the gray of the roof, and I'm actually really happy how it turned out. You'll see after this I took a step back, looked at the entire house with them on, and that's just one more step towards a finished product. So let's cut to see actually how the house looks after this, because it's progress. So I do think they look a lot better in the dark brown. The green was just kind of an eyesore. They really pulled it off in real life, however in Minecraft it just didn't do it justice, so I just had to change it. But I'm really happy with how it turned out. So now I'm just starting to add foliage around the house just to give it a little bit more of a touch, a little bit more pizzazz, I guess you can say, around the outside. And then once I'm done with that, we are going to be going inside to design the entire inside. And we also have to work on the garage and just the rooms in the house. So let's design this outside a little bit and then we'll head right in. So I guess during this time lapse really quick, as I'm doing the rest of the leaves on the back, I want to say subscribe to the channel. You should like, subscribe. I would really appreciate it. I am going to be doing a lot more Minecraft in the future, and obviously a lot more videos like this, because I'm doing all 50 states and they're all going to be on the same world, so we can definitely see the progression over time. I'm really excited. So if you remember earlier in the video, I did say how that granite was not going to last forever, and this is where it goes. So I decided to go with a jungle. I'm not really quite sure why. I just liked how it had similar shades of granite. It was more of a red wood, and I just think the red wood, or the red tin in the front, kind of brought the whole front of the house out a little bit. Let me know how you feel about that, because I was really debating it for a while. However, now that's done. So now you're going to realize that I made another fuck up, and it's the builder's worst nightmare. It's not even. So we have to fix that. I have to extend the whole doorway. I have to widen it. I have to do a whole bunch of refacing to the front of the house, but it really didn't take that long. It was only a couple minutes. So may lessons be learned. However, we live and we learn. That's what this challenge is about. So, oops. But hey, just like that, we fixed it. So now that the door is actually even, I have to choose what kind of door I actually want. And I took a lot of thought into this. I overthought it a lot for sure. However, I went with a birch door. And once again, I don't really know why. I have a lot of different types of wood up front. And now that I'm looking at it, I definitely think I could have picked a different door there, but I didn't want to overdo the spruce and the dark oak. And then the inside, you'll see I used dark oak, and I think I overdid it a little bit with that too, but I was afraid of overdoing it, so I chose a different wood for the door, and that is for the front and the back. But I don't hate it. I don't know. Let me know what you think in the comments down below, and let's take a look at what this looks like. Wow, that's an eyesore. Okay, get rid of it, scrap it, do it again. I Now that I'm looking back at it, what was I thinking? But hey, now that we got the door done in the front, it's time for the garage door. I I actually like how this turned out. I used iron blocks, which might be a little cliche. I see a lot of people do that, but I don't know. I like how it looks. You really can't beat it. I don't think. I mean, you definitely can, because I know for sure in later builds, I'm definitely not gonna make the garage door out of iron. But for this, I think it works pretty well. And fuck, it's not even again. God damn it. I do that a lot. Why do I always do that? So guess what? Extend the garage. It's just one block. All I had to do was move the leaves like that and just move the garage door over one. It wasn't a big deal, but I'm glad it wasn't, because to move the whole house, the whole side of the house in or out one would have been a complete disaster. I got lucky for sure. Man, man, man. So now here I actually decided to take a break from building on the actual house, and I wanted to do a little more landscaping. I definitely think the house needed some kind of front path, some kind of sidewalk leading to the front door. So really quick, I just mocked something up. It's not crazy. However, it did stay for the rest of the build. There really wasn't much change to be done to it until the very, very end. I actually think it was the last thing I did. But I think classic sandstone, smooth sandstone is the color of a sidewalk. You can't really beat that. I do wish I did a little more decorating around it, but once I finish the build and post the video, I kind of want to refuse to touch it, kind of like a frozen in time, so we can actually see the progression. Because if I just change things after, then what's the point of even like trying to see progression? Because it's going to be different. So, you know, I'm just naming my regrets so I can try to remember them, and that was kind of one of them. But I mean, hey, you let me know. But now we're finally on the inside. I didn't really do much before this part. I really just changed the floor to dark oak. So that's really all that you missed. This is where I find out that I think it was too short to make a second floor. Looking back at it, I definitely think I could have, but I didn't want to put the floor right in the middle of the windows, if that makes sense. And I feel like if I did it above the windows, it would have been, I guess, more of an attic, which would have been okay, but it just wasn't what I was looking for. So you'll see right here that I didn't like how it turned out, and I immediately regretted it. You can see immediately undo, but I mean, hey, you learn. So it's just a very tall roof now, which I actually like. I don't know how you guys feel, but I love open concept houses like that. So, I guess it's a win, because I would live in this house. So now it's just kind of decorating time. Just put some random paintings around, etc., etc. And then we are going to be building some rooms, building a little bit more decoration, and then honestly we call it there. That's the entire build. So we don't got too much longer. We're really in the final stretch here. So I guess the first thing I decided to build was a TV, and I don't know why. I just saw the little wall that I'm looking at right here, and I'm like, hey, that is perfect for a TV. So I'm currently building a TV stand to put the TV on. And don't make fun of me, guys, but I don't know really how to build a TV. This is always how I've built my TVs ever since like 1.8 or way before then. Whenever I started playing, I've always built my TVs like this. So if you have a better way to do it, please let me know. Send me a tutorial or something, because it's just boring. It's just black, It's like the TV's off. But I guess I could have added the painting or something. But regardless, it's a boring TV. We get it. I suck. Anyway, I decided to add a little bit of spice, go for a lighter couch design, because like I said, if I added those stairs that are supposed to be the couch the same color as the floor, it would have driven me insane. That is way too much of one color. So I made them a little bit brighter. I added a little bit of a coffee table there. I got a solid speaker system going on. And overall, living room, not too bad. Actually loving it. So now what we're going to do is, I think we're going to work on the garage a little bit here, and then we are going to build the kitchen. So, you know, I like to eat. I love eating, so I can't have a house without a kitchen. That is just a no-go for me. So as I'm working on the garage here, I was thinking, what other rooms do I need? Because obviously I need a kitchen. And I was trying to think what else I needed. And spoiler alert, guys, I didn't even add a bathroom into this house. Because to be honest, I didn't know where. I tried to add a bathroom in the corner there next to the living room. However, I just thought, I'm like, who has windows just pointing right into the bathroom? And I didn't want to sacrifice the windows in the front of the house. So this is a no bathroom house. Yeah, you got a kitchen. Yeah, you can eat. The bathroom? No, no, nope, nope, no bathroom for you. So I did have the refrigerator, as you see there. Basic refrigerator, like everybody else does it. 2 iron blocks, an iron door. But it's such a good refrigerator. Like, how are you really supposed to build it any differently? Like, that is classic. So now I'm just building a basic countertop just to separate the kitchen from the living room a little bit, because I guess I would have felt like it was weird to just, kitchen straight into living room. I mean, like I said, I love open concept, but not really that open. Like, even my apartment I live in now, I have at least an island that separates it. I would go insane. I don't know. I just feel like that's too open. So I added just a basic counter. I added 2 furnaces with some black carpet to look like a stove top. And basically I just added a shelf for some barrels up top. So just some basic storage. Honestly, it's a nice little compact kitchen. This is one of my favorite kitchens I've built in recent years. Every house I build, I add a kitchen. I just like adding a bunch of different rooms to my houses. But that kitchen, honestly, one of my favorites. Good job, Spencer. So after I got the kitchen done, I was just looking. I'm like, what else do I need? Obviously, a kitchen slash dining room table. So I'm just building a basic dining room table. It's just 6 pressure plates on top of 6 fences. I know there's probably better ways to do that. However, I like how it looks, so who cares? I mean, if I like it, that's really all that matters. However, I do like having the opinion of others influence what I build, especially if I'm going to be doing 50 houses. So let me know how you feel about that. If you want me to do a different table some other time, I definitely can, because I have some other ideas. Like, there's an upside down stair table you can do, a bunch of stuff like that. However, how I did it there is, I think, a really fitting design for this house particularly. So here's what I was talking about earlier. I wanted to make this a bathroom, and I even went as far as actually building the room for it. However, the second I built it, you'll see I walked inside it, and I'm just like, who has 2 big windows just facing the fucking toilet? Who does that? So I didn't want to take those windows out because I would have totally put the balance of the house completely off. So I completely just benched that idea. And as you're going to see, I just went with a basic little library in the corner. A nice little cozy area that you can relax if you don't want TV. And honestly, I like how it turned out. I don't really know if I would change what I put there, because I didn't really know what else to put there. I also just realized as I was doing this voiceover, yeah, there's no bed either. You don't get to sleep. Whatever. So as you see what I'm doing here, I'm trying to get some light just because the house is really, really dark. If you see what I did with the lights there, what is that? You'll see in a second. That is some ugly shit. I do not like what I did. Look at that. Look at the rods, dude. I just don't like how they turned out, so I am going to completely redo that. And I actually ended up adding a chandelier, which I really love how that looks. So you'll see that in just a second. So now that you see that I deleted the rods, you just see how dark it is on the house. I have some lighting bugs going on, but regardless, it's just really dark. So I decided to get some iron, what are these called? Iron bars, that's what they're called. I got some iron bars, made a double layer chandelier, and honestly, I was gonna just do one, but I think it would have looked more like a ceiling fan, which now that I say it, actually probably would have been a good idea as well. But I was more focused on the lighting issue at that time, so I just added that basic chandelier. And I mean, you'll see in a second once I complete it, but I really like how it turned out. And I actually got this idea because I did the exact same thing in the garage. So all around, looks good. if you see on the floor there, I tried to figure out how to do like floor lamps. Hated it, so I'm deleting them as you see here. I just didn't like how it turned out, and it was kind of irrelevant now that that chandelier is lighting up most of the room. So take a look around the inside real quick, and I like it. But now I just got the idea in the recording. You'll see I just got the idea. I'm going to put a dog bed here. This is going to be where the library is. However, I wanted to add a dog bed because everybody deserves a good little friend in their home. And most families have dogs, so, you know, it was only fitting. So once I got done doing the dog bed, I did decide that I do think it would look good to have a small library here. So I just got some chiseled bookshelves because, yes, the normal bookshelves are nice. However, I just don't like how they're all always constantly like, 100% full. I like having some variation with where my books are. So I think chiseled bookshelves are definitely a good way to go to mass. I think chiseled bookshelves are definitely a good way to add variety and more texture in your library. So obviously you see some of them are full, but it's not every single one, and that's what I really like. I think the chiseled bookshelves were definitely a good call, especially when I step back and take a look. So honestly, I think that was a good call, but what do you guys think? Do you guys use full bookshelves for actual decorating? Because obviously you used to, right? When there was when this block wasn't in the game, that's like all you really had. But all I really use bookshelves now are for like the enchantment table, and that's it. When you're decorating, just use the chiseled bookshelf, dude. It looks so nice, way better. So look, a quick look around the house. I love how it turns out. A quick look outside as well. Look at that. Look at it. Let's look at this. So now what I'm doing is just adding a quick barrier around the house. We'll cut and I'll show you what that looks like. But for every house I build, I am going to be adding a barrier like this one just to separate the houses. And I'll put a sign out front to what state it is as well. So as you see, I'm just doing a couple finishing touches. I added the driveway, I finished the path, and there she is. There is basically the finished build. I really like how this house turned out. Now, I do eventually want to learn how to texture houses because I've seen people texture their houses where the base of the house is not all one block, but there's some different blocks with, just some like the same color but slightly different texture. It just makes it look a lot better. However, I'm not really comfortable. I tried to do it earlier and I cut it out. I just didn't like how it turned out. So it's just all plain white. You see me struggling to make a chair there, but I'll figure it out. There you go. But yeah, so that's basically the finished build. We are going to take a look at the house one more time, and then I have just a couple B-roll shots of the house. So let's just go up front, check it out. Look how nice that looks. I am actually really pleased with myself. I would live in a house like this in real life, of course. So we are going to be adding a sign up front that just says what state it is. So don't mind me actually looking how to spell Connecticut, because to be honest, I couldn't remember. Like I was blanking. I couldn't remember how to spell Connecticut. So that's why I had to take a second to look, but I figured it out. So one more look at the house. We're going to grab this sign. We're going to put a sign right up front. It says Connecticut. And so every house that I do, I am going to have a sign up front, and I am probably going to edit the sign next time I get on that is going to say number 1, etc., etc. So we actually know in what order we did the houses, so it would be easier to watch the progress. But there's the house. I think it looks really good. I have some B-roll shots to show you guys, but I mean, just look at it. I love how it turned out. Connecticut. Oh yeah, baby. So thank you guys for watching this video. I really appreciate you sticking around to the end. If you are hearing this, obviously you stuck around until the end. This was a good experience. I am really excited to see what houses and what states we get next. But if you guys enjoyed, please, I would really appreciate it if you gave me a like, a subscribe. Tell me what you guys think. Any advice, any ideas would be greatly appreciated. I will see you guys in the next video. Give me a rating on this house out of 10. I am really curious what you guys think. Have a good one. Goodbye.